committee moving forward to investigate the sexual abuse scandal and, to the degree to which there may have been a cover-up, all the details. Are you comfortable that there's going to be enough autonomy and independence? And you're used to grand juries, you know about this stuff. Are you comfortable that it will proceed in the right way?
Absolutely. The chairman of that committee, Ken Frazier from Merck, who's on the board, that's been his direction. That's what he was given. The vice chair is my Secretary of Education. He's going to be supporting it. They know where I am on this.
Right.
I want them to go wherever they can go without stepping on the actual criminal investigation that is still ongoing. So there's a delicate balance. They are interviewing individuals on the outside who would be the individual investigators on this. I know who they're interviewing. I'm very comfortable with that. I'm not going to give you the scoop on that.
No, don't have to. But let me just get this. So, in other words, there's going to be a set of outside investigators, no ties to Penn State, no ties to the sports or academic community. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
And you think that? I mean, that's critical.
When
I
you
think,
see
right?
when you see the names, I think that you understand.
All right. So we're talking about, obviously, I'm not going to push you on that. Major names, major prosecutors. Is that safe to say? Major I mean, can you go as far to say these are people who have lots of experience? These are people that
you will recognize the name, and they have a lot of experience.
Okay, all right. And but will there be? I'm going to come back to this. We're running out of time in this segment, but will there be faculty members and students and people like that on it, or are they just sort of?
The committee, and I don't have the committee makeup here that was announced. Right. There are a few members of the Board of Trustees. There will be some representative from faculty, some representative from students, and some representatives from alumni.
But none of them.
But the outside, but the investigators, they're people that know how to investigate.
All right, Governor. Let's talk about another thing. I mean, one of the points that have been made recently have to do with the time frame in which the investigation was going on by your office when you were Attorney General, and then for that 2 years, I think, when the grand jury was underway. Some have said, well, why didn't you move quickly? Why didn't you prosecute the guy sooner? Why didn't you go through? Plus, in addition to that, you have also been involved in going after predators for a good bit of time. Start with that, and then we'll get to the...
Well, let's start with that. I went after a predator when I was a young assistant district attorney back in 1979, who had a small organization who he went out and groomed kids, males and females, in pretty much the same way. Not a big organization, much smaller. And that has affected my thinking ever since then. I've always wondered what happened to those children now that they're, well, that was 79, so that was 20-some, 30-some years ago. And then with the Child Predator Unit, we saw the new way for predators to go after children was using the internet, hiding behind the internet. Not only did I start the unit, we also started an education unit. We started Operation Safe Surf. So I have always been about predators, and as soon as we can take them off the street with a case that's going to survive and win. Because the worst thing you want to do is rush it, pick somebody up, arrest them, and lose that case, because it's very hard to ever go back again after somebody like that. So this investigation, and I can only talk in the general nature because of my ethical obligations, moved along as fast as we possibly could move it along. It was a grand jury investigation, so they take time. Grand jury only meets a couple days a month, and they also have other cases in front of them.
I mean,
these are citizens that come in from central Pennsylvania, in the one here in Harrisburg, eastern Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, western Pennsylvania in Pittsburgh.
So your point is that that moving too quickly could have, in fact, endangered the process.
Jeopardized the whole thing.
I mean, could you have witness intimidation and all this sorts of things?
There's a number of different things that I will talk generally about cases like this.
These
kind of cases, the witnesses don't come forward very quickly. They might be coming forward now that it's out there, but when you are trying to find witnesses, trying to find the different cases, it's very difficult to get people to admit that they have been sexually abused by people, particularly people of stature, of reputation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is there any, before we're going to turn to some policy stuff in the next segment, is there any sense about how long you think this investigation will go on? I mean, I'm not, is there just, or is it open-ended?
Let's go, as you know, I did the investigation of Bonus Gate. Bonus Gate turns into Computer Gate, whatever you want to do. Nobody knew where that was going. It started out with a newspaper story by the Harrisburg Patriot.
Right.
We began the investigation. Everybody in that one, again, complained it took so long. Why didn't you get this done? Why didn't you move that done? I think our results have been pretty good to show that if you do it correctly, you're going to prove the case and get the convictions that you need. And as you know, we actually had the former Speaker of the House, Purcell, plead guilty because of the case that was built. You have to do it properly.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I'm not going to, you know, I don't get into whether things are right or wrong. That's not my job. It's just to ask questions. I mean, on one sense, I guess I can understand some of the view of people who said, well, if it took longer, then people may have, some kids may have been hurt. I understand. I mean, I guess that's always going to be said, isn't it, about
you could say that about any type of case.
About any of these types of cases.
When you conduct an investigation, you know, you want to get the person off the street as fast as you can. There's no reason to delay it, and there was no political, certainly no political reason for me to delay it. We wanted to get it done.
You mean because the president of Penn State and you've had differences over education? I'm only, you know, but yeah, I don't think anybody does that for differences over policy. I mean, look, if you guys fought with people, didn't like people who disagree with the policy, nobody would talk to anybody in Harrisburg, right? It's pretty complicated.